Hello, my name is Gabriel from GabakUSA. In this video we're going to talk about components and connectors. So if you have followed me in the past few videos that I made about how to become a computer technician, so we were talking about the input and output of all the connectors that one computer has. So in this case we are going to talk about the components of the computer a little bit and the connectors on this side. So that is very important, so you can start knowing the anatomy of the computer, so that way when you start building a computer or start repairing, you're going to know what you are doing, and also you're going to start identifying each piece. That is very important. So most of the computers, as you know, they have a body. A body will be the computer case. So in this case, so we are going to start talking with about the computer case. In case you want to buy a computer or you want to build one, that is what I'm referring in this case, you're going to have two options. One, the computer that comes, or the case that comes with a power supply or without power supply. So in this case, if you buy without a power supply, usually those cases are high-end, so they cost more and the quality is greater. And in that case, you're going to buy the power supply separately. So if you're going to do that, don't buy a knockoff power supply. Buy a good one. Usually a good power supply will cost above $100. If you buy something that costs maybe $30 or $40, it will not be that good. So that is what I would recommend. Also, we are going to talk about the motherboard. You have different models. In this case, what I'm going to try to show you is a little bit the pieces, because as usual, if this is the first time, I try to show you a little of practice and then the theory as usual. So here I have a computer case. This is a Dell, but when you buy a computer case, it will look something like this. It might differ depending on the manufacturer, but as you can see, this is the case. So this is the body where all the components are inside. As you can see here, you're going to see the back panel and all the other connectors. And in this case, the difference is that usually the brand computers, they don't come with a reset. They come only with a power button. So in this case, if you want to use it, if you want to reset the computer, you have to hold it for 10 seconds. So that is one thing that you have to think about. And there are a few other differences. So I'm going to show you a little bit the whiteboard, so you can see better here. Okay, now we have the power supply. I'm going to show you a few power supplies, so you can know the difference between the Dell one, maybe any other brands, and the one that you can buy in any store. So that is very important. The thing is, when you buy a computer like this, it doesn't matter the form. It might be horizontal or it might be a vertical tower. We're going to open it up a little bit. So this is the power supply that you're going to see. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to explain later on what is this, and that is why I have plenty of stuff here, because we are going to start talking about many other things. So in this case, all these pieces of metal that you see here, this is the power supply. So because they use this kind of format, they make it like that, but usually a power supply of a regular computer will look something like that. This is very standard. The good thing, if the power supply dies or something like that, you have to replace it. You can find something like this very easy anywhere. Instead, if you have to replace this one, it might be a little bit more difficult, and you are not going to be able to find it everywhere. So that is the bad thing. So here is the connector, if you want to connect to the electricity. With the power supply, you're going to find different things depending on the country where you are. Some of them, they have a switch where you can change the voltage. In case if you are in US, you're going to use 110, but maybe if you are in Europe or in another country, you may use 220. So in this case, this is a full range, so it's all automatic. So that is very important when you start working with customers' computer. If they come from another country for any reason, maybe they work in the embassy or something like that, pay attention so you will not burn the computer using the wrong voltage. Also, another thing is when you buy the power supply, this is a very old computer, but in this one it comes with this small connector. We are going to talk more about the different kind of connectors in another videos. And in this case, the newer power supply, it comes with the same connector for all computers. As you can see here, it's the same size, but it comes with an addition of 4 pins usually if you want to connect a newer motherboard. So that is another of the things that you have to keep in mind when you are building a computer or you start seeing different connectors, and so you know what you're doing and you're not going to use the wrong connector. You're going to burn something. So as we have been talking before about the input and output on all the computers, and now we are going to talk about the motherboard. So the motherboard, you will have two kind of connectors, the one that are soldered on the motherboard, and those connectors, it might be like the USB that it goes in the front of the computer, that goes through a cable, is not soldered the connector in the motherboard. So I'm going to show you a little bit that. Also, you will recognize the motherboard because now you're going to see what is a motherboard. Also the connectors that I said before, and like I'm going to show you here in this side of the whiteboard. So let's see the motherboard so you can see it. In this case, we have the motherboard. This is a branded computer, like I said before. This is a Dell, and you will have a different connector. So I'm going to remove this. I'm going to explain you what is this for in a little bit. So we are going to close the case, and as you will know, on the back of the computer you will have different connectors. So here we have a parallel connector. It used to be for all printers. Here is the serial. Serial is very useful today for configuring maybe Cisco routers, Cisco switches, and everything. So it will be input, output, this one as well. In the old ages, I used to exchange or copy files from one computer to another one when the Ethernet card they didn't used to be that popular like today. But you can do that. It's very slow, so I don't recommend to do that today. 2016 is very old. So here we have an output. This is output only. This will be the VGA connectors. So this is the output that you will see everything on the screen. Here we have the mouse, and on the bottom we have the connector for the keyboard. So usually these connectors, you're not going to see them that often, but they're still around. So if you have maybe old kind of keyboard, you are going to see this kind of connector. It used to be bigger, like maybe on Pentium 1 or 486 computers and all the things, if you remember that age. And today it will be all PS2, so this connector is called PS2, is only input. In here we have the USB, is input and output, because you can connect whatever. It could be a keyboard, mouse, a printer, it could be like a VGA USB adapter, whatever. Here you have the audio, so it will be line in. This is the audio, the input only, and here you will have the output. This is the output of the audio, and here you have the microphone, so it's input only. And here you have the input, or it will be only for, I mean, it doesn't matter, but it is just for the electricity. So here is how you're going to power up the computer. So in the front, you're going to see the same thing almost. It's just the USB and the audios, the output. That's it. And you will see here to power on the computer, power it off, and the hard drive LED light, the DVD, floppy disk, and that's it. So that is all you're going to see, at least in this kind of cases. You're going to see maybe different things in different cases. So what I wanted to say is these are direct connections because it's all soldered in the motherboard. And the indirect are going to be like this, like I show you. You have the audio and you have the USB and everything else here. So everything that you see on the front, it will be indirect because it comes with the cable. It's not direct like the other was. So I'm going to show you now another motherboard, so you can see what I'm saying here. So here, as you can see, everything is soldered to the board. The USB connector, a parallel port, these connectors, the PS2, and everything else. So everything is going to be direct here. And this connector that I was showing you right here, usually is this one that you see here. That it says USB 2 or USB 1. I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So in the manual, you will see what are they for. In this case, as you can see here, I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so here it says HD LED, that is for the light. Here is the reset button, and on the other part, on the top, you will see the same thing, but here it will be the power reset, and here it will be the power light. So you can turn it on, the computer off, and all the things, and reset it. So here you have the speaker. When some computers, like you see here, in the circuit, there is a circle here, but you don't see anything. So what they did is they saved some pennies on the speaker. You have to connect your own speaker if you want to hear the noise each time the computer boots up. So that is very important. The other thing I was trying to show you before, I'm going to remove the zoom so you can see it better. Also, I'll drop a mouse. Okay, so this is expansion core. I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk later about the connectors. As you can see here, this is the PCI port, as you can see here. And this one is the big one is for the expansion port that goes here. Because this is not like a regular motherboard that is long, as you can see here, that you have all the connectors over here. You have something that you will connect it like that, so you will have all the connectors here. So if you want to connect more Ethernet card, video card, or whatever else that you want. So it will be like vertical extension that it goes here, as you can see over here. I'm going to try to connect it. Okay, so it goes like that. So that is the main purpose of that. Okay, now we are going to talk about a processor. The processor, it will be, like I said before, it will be the brain of the computer. So is where it processes everything, every information, every time you press a key, it shows on the screen, or you move the mouse or whatever, everything will go through the processor. So that is very important, so you can keep in mind. I'm going to show you the processor. I have a very old one, but anyway, it will be useful, so when you start building computers, you know what you're doing. So in this case, the processor, it goes here. We have a huge heatsink in this case, so this is so the processor will stay cool. As you can see here, this is the heatsink. I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. All right. So here we have the processor. We lift up the little handle. As you can see, here we have the chip. This is a processor, and also you have to be very careful. This is a Pentium 4. Yeah, this is a Pentium 4. As you can see, very old, but for this class, for the purpose of this class, is useful. So the thing is, each computer, it will have this kind of heat sink, so that way all the heat, it will be dissipated for all these pieces of metal. So maybe we're going to talk about this later, and with this you're going to secure the sink, the heat sink, so that way it will not fall. So that way it's secure now, as you can see, and that way it will not overheat. So this is another motherboard. This is AMD. That one was Intel. So usually it's the same thing. You lift it up, the little handle, and here you have the pins. So depending on the generation, some of them comes with pins, and others they don't. But you have to be careful. Don't mess them up. So you will not have any problem. And of course, depending on the generation, when the newer it is, the more pins it will have. So here we have another motherboard. So here is where the microprocessor will go. So if you have maybe a server, a motherboard or something like that, instead of one, maybe you will be able to connect two. And in this case, I have another motherboard. This is a Raspberry Pi. Is very new, 2016. And here, as you can see, it comes with a very small, tiny heatsink, but is good enough. And it comes with a small fan. As you can see, this one is huge, but this one is very small. For this purpose, it works fine. So in this case, it comes with everything in one piece. So video card, a wireless, Ethernet card, audio jack, and everything. So everything comes in one little piece. So now we are going to talk about the memory RAM. Of course, you have DDR1, DDR2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the future. And now 2016, the latest one is DDR4. But even though on the future they will be making more and faster and better DDR memory. So that is the thing. So I'm going to show you. I have a very old that is PC 133. So that is before the DDR memory, but we are going to show you where you're going to be able to locate them on the computer. So here, as you can see, we have this is DDR1. This is the socket where you're going to connect the memory. Here I have the memory RAM, as you can see. This is very old, and this is a PC 133. You will know it because it comes with two grooves here, as you can see. So that is the thing that you're going to find on this. Here always comes with one groove on the memory. So you will see because the socket, and over time what they do is they change the place, so you cannot connect the wrong memory in the wrong slot. In this one is like kind of hybrid. You can connect old memory and new memory. Some motherboards, they say you cannot do it both at the same time. You can usually it's one type of memory or the other type of memory. You cannot connect them all at the same time. Here you have the other motherboard. It doesn't matter the brand. Always they come with this kind of a slot where you can connect the memory. So that is pretty easy. In this case, it's the newest one, Raspberry Pi, and also MacBooks Pro and all the newest Apple computers. They solder everything, so you cannot add anything, you cannot remove anything, you cannot replace. So in this case, computers are good because you can replace them. In this case, you're not going to be able to replace it. This costs $35, but again, depending on what you're dealing. Usually, the newest notebooks of Apple, everything is soldered. Some models, like maybe the Mac Pro, like the 2013, at least that is the one I have. You can replace the memory like you see here, but the tendency is that they are going to get rid of the memory, so people cannot upgrade them. So at least PCs or even the regular computer, you still are going to be able to replace the memories and everything else. So now moving forward, now we have hard drives. You have the spinning hard drives and you have the solid hard drive. Usually the solid hard drive are the best one. They are faster. And you will improve your computer a lot. And you have the old hard drive. They are cheaper, they are slower, but they are good for storage. But I'm going to show you a little bit. So you have different connectors here. This is another component. So it's vital. If you don't have that, the computer will not boot up. So I'm going to show you SATA, ID, and we have another two connectors that I don't have it right now, the hard drives, but maybe I'll show a picture in one of the sides of the video. It will be SAS, usually is for enterprise, very high end, very expensive, and you have SCSI. They used to be old connector. You may find some new, but usually enterprise, they use SAS, like I said before. So I'm going to show you a little bit closer so you can see everything. So as you can see here, we have a hard drive. This is a hard drive. This is 3.5 inch. So in this hard drive, you are going to see this is the connector, this is the data, and here we have the power. So the power is so you can make work the hard drive, and here is of course the data. So what I'm saying is, because in this case we have this kind of cables, this kind of cables is the IDE, and they comes like that. You're going to connect it something like that. And this kind of hard drive, they are very old, so and very slow, so I don't recommend them at all. This is a dead hard drive that I have laying around, and this is a new hard drive. So this is the new generation. It will be SATA, so the power connector will be this. I'm going to try to focus the camera so if you can see it better. Here the big one, it will be the power, and this one, the small one, will be the data. So that is the main thing with this kind of hard drives. And another thing I'm going to show you is another kind of hard drive. So here we have a notebook hard drive. As you can see, is smaller. This is 2.5 inches. And you can have this kind of hard drive. It could be IDE, or it could be SATA. So in this case, it's a new one, it's a SATA. And also, I'm going to show you here the SSD drive. This is the new one. So these are great, very fast, very good. So I recommend to install this one all the time. This one is very old. This is a broken one, but it's good for this video. I'm going to show you a little bit the motherboard. So in this case, like I showed you before, we have here this cable. It usually goes here, and you have this kind of the cable goes here. I apologize. This is for the floppy disk. Nobody uses floppy disk anymore. Here you have 34 pins, and here you have 40. But in case if you have to deal with a very old computer, it's good to know. So here we have the SATA. Here we have the SATA connectors. As you can see, it's very small. I'm going to remove it from here, and I'm going to show you how you can connect it in the new hard drive. So that way, that is how you connect this. Very small is much better. This kind of connector, very fast as well. So now we have seen the SATA, the IDE, and the SAS and the SCSI. SAS, it will be kind of like the SATA, but a different connector. Like I said before, I will be adding some pictures here. Also, SCSI or SCSI, it will be like the ID connector. It will be a little bit bigger. I'm going to be showing you another connector. I mean, here a picture of it. Basically, that's it. Usually, the SCSD is faster than the ID. And SAS is faster than everything else. That is the main thing, usually are for enterprise. So now we are going to talk about a little bit about video cards. So you have HEP, PCI, and PCI Express. So the newest one, it will be PCI Express. That is the best thing. The other things are very, very old school, but I'm going to show you anyway so you can see better all the things. So as you can see here, we have the connector. So in this case is a PCI. So as we can see, we are going to connect it like that, and we have the VGA connector over here. So this is a very, very old video card. So the newest one, the other video card, it will be kind of like this, but the connector will be different, and it will go just here. This is the HCP, and the PCI Express, it will be different. It will be like it will be like this, but it will be much a little bit more compact, and it will have more connectors inside, so that way you can connect more things. So I'm going to show you in a little while later on how they look like, so if you want to recognize them. I'm going to show you here. I have a ASUS video card, as you can see over here, and this is the connector. As you can see, is much you have more pins, more connectors on the slot. So on the connector that goes in the slot. Here I'm going to show you a motherboard. So if you can see, they have different sizes. You have a PCI Express by 8, by 1, and by 16. PCI, the regular one, the one I show you. So as you can see, you have a big difference between one and the other one. So usually 16, it will be the best one. Usually the small one are for another purpose, maybe for Ethernet card or something like that. So that is the main thing. So the thing is, they look all like they look all alike, but usually over time, what they do is they insert more connectors on this kind of slot, so they can pass data faster. Okay, now about the sound card. So now we are going to talk about sound cards. You have basically it's input output a little bit. Usually video card, like I said before, is only output, and you have the sound card. It will be input output, like I showed you in the beginning. So you have sound cards. You have usually two qualities. You have the one that comes on the motherboard. It is the so-so sound card. It's the OK sound. And also you will have the other one that comes with separately, that you can buy separately. Usually they are USB, or they may have another connector, and they are more professional. They cost more, and you should have a much better sound. So I'm going to show you a little bit on the motherboard, so where you're going to find this kind of sound card. So in this case, like I showed you before, here we have all the panel. So the connector is here. Here you have all the, as you can see here, I'll try to make it focus. So here, okay, you can see much better now. The color, usually always is like that. This is the blue, it will be the line in. This it will be the out, and this will be for the mic. So these are the basic sound card that you're going to find in all these kind of computers. Some of them may have maybe a little bit better, but usually they are just regular and okay. They're not for professional use. That is what I'm trying to say. And also, like I said before, on this side it had the sound card is the same like here, but here. So that is the basic stuff. All right, moving on. So we have the Blu-ray. So Blu-ray, we have the DVD. They are going to be extinct, I guess, maybe a few years more. Usually everything comes in a jump drive, and you can download it on internet, but some computers, they still have it. Some people, they still want it if they want to make it backup or something like that. You can do that. Maybe not will be the best option, but I'm going to show you anyway. Here we have a DVD burner, CD burner, and everything in one device. As you can see, Sony. You will see all the different logos is depending of the brand and everything that it can do. So this is an external one. So this is a USB. Like I showed you before, here you may have another one. Yep, I'm going to show you the other one so you can see it a little bit better. It's the same thing that you see here on this computer, but it's just in a case. So you can buy the case by itself and you can install it. But if you say, well, I don't care about the case or something like that, you can take it apart, remove the DVD from here, and you can connect it in this computer. No problem. Usually it will be fine. The only thing you have to check is the connector, if it's SATA or not. And other than that, it should work just fine. Or if you have one inside the computer, you want to use it externally, like in this case, you can do the same thing here. So I'm going to show you the front. I think it is not much, it won't be that much different, like I said before, but here is the DVD, like I said. So you push the button, it comes out, and that's it. There is not much than that. Okay, moving on the same one, same thing. Moving on, Ethernet card. So now we have the Ethernet card. So you can connect to internet or to another computers. You might be on middle of somewhere on Neverland or something like that, and you will see that you have every computers nowadays, they come with the Ethernet card, and if you have two computers and you want them to talk each other, you can do it through it. You don't have to have another thing. If you want them to talk and to transfer data, share the printer and everything else, you can do it, no problem. You don't have to have internet. That is what I'm trying to teach you here. You don't have to have internet in order to transfer data from one computer to another, if they are in the same room, with the same wiring. So that is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to show you here in the old computers. Usually old computers, they didn't have Ethernet card. In this case, someone add this Ethernet card to this computer, as you can see. Nowadays, they comes with the motherboard. So in this case, this was an optional. Pentium 4, Pentium 1, all those computers, everything was an optional, the Ethernet card. But today, every motherboard, they come with the Ethernet card. So I'm going to show you here. Even I have these motherboards that are very old. And you can see you have the Ethernet port, and that is a very good thing. So the difference is the speed. You may have a gigalan or gigabit. You may have you may have 10 to 100. That is the old speed, but on the future they will have a faster Ethernet card. But that is the thing. So you're not going to see much difference nowadays. There are some notebooks, they don't come with this, and you will have to buy some kind of USB adapter, like the new MacBook Pro. Other than that, that is the Ethernet port. All right, so moving on. Now we have the motherboard here, as you can see. We have the power, C-panel front, slot, I/O panel, input, output. So I'm going to show you a little bit. The first one, it will be the power, so you can see how you can power up the computer. So we are going to change cameras, and then we can see here, as you can see, we have this. It will be the port that I was telling you first. So this is the port that you're going to use in order to power up the computer. So in this case, these are very old motherboards. So some of them come like this. Another one is going to be a little bit longer, and you may have another type of connector here to power up the motherboard. So we're not going to talk in deep in this kind of connectors. We are going to do it later on, but it's the same thing. I'm going to show you with this Dell computer. This is the same thing I showed you before, and here we have the other power supply. This is a newer power supply, like I said before. And here we have the other connector that comes with the 24 pins. So you leave it like that, like this, and then you are going to plug it in. So like I said before, this is very old motherboard, and you're not going to be able to use all 24 pins. You're going to use just 20, but it doesn't matter. You can leave it out and you can connect it anyway. Also, like I said before, usually the newer motherboards, you're going to use one of these connectors or these connectors. Usually you will see something like this, but small, or in this area. All right, moving on. So now we are going to talk about the C panel, the front one. I told you that before, but I'm going to be very specific right now so you can see it better. So in this case, like I said before, we have the connectors. So here you're going to connect the hard drive, the preset, the power button, and everything else. Going to show you here. I have a front computer case front. So you're going to see this one is all broken, but it doesn't matter. Here it used to be the button, just the power button. Usually some cases they have another button is a reset, but because this is an e-machine, is not something that is custom built. Usually they don't come with a reset. Here you will see the cables. As you can see here, we have the cables, and they come with their small label. So it says power LED and power switch. So and you will have another one if you have for the reset. It will say reset. And here I got it to make experiment. So here I used to have the one for the hard drive. That is the one that comes here. In the other motherboard is the same thing, but a little bit different. All right, now slots. Okay, so I talked about the slot before, but I'm going to show you very quickly so you can see everything. So this is the slot. So these are the slots. Like I said before, this is HEP, PCI, and then you have PCI Express, like I showed you before in my iPad. So as you can see over here, we have the PCI Express, and basically that's it. I mean, it's the same connector, but more connectors, or more pins, more contactors inside. So that is the big difference between the PCI and PCI Express. Okay, moving to the next subject, it will be input-output panel. So that is very easy. I showed you before, but I'm going to show you again just in case if you forgot. So like I showed you in the other cases, this is going to be the panel, the back panel, like I said before. PS2, you have the serial, parallel port, USB, Ethernet card, sound card, and everything else. Also, like I said in the beginning, we're going to show you here in the computer. So this is the panel that I was talking about. Here you have everything. All right. Okay. Socket for the processor. I showed you before. Maybe if you want, I'll show you again. But it will be very quickly, very easy, straight to the point, because I showed you before. This is the socket. This is the processor. You remove the processor here. Lifting up this handle, this little board that you have here, and then that's it. And depending, you have a different socket for AMD, for Intel, and you have for different models. So make sure that you're going to buy the right motherboard for the right processor, in case if you have to replace it, or if you want to upgrade it or whatever. We're going to talk a little bit about the BIOS. I mean, yeah, we are going to talk about the BIOS. I'm not going to go very deep. Oh, it didn't change. Come on, there you go. So we have the BIOS here. As you can see, here we have the BIOS. And in this computer, we have the BIOS here. Usually, over time, they get smaller. And usually, they don't use a socket anymore. They use just solder in the motherboard, and that's it. So I'm going to show you. Yep, in this case, it was solder. So I'm going to show you. Okay, as you can see, it says BIOS. Here is all solder in this case. And in the other case here, it says BIOS as well, AMI BIOS. Yep, I'm going to show you. Yep, AMI BIOS. This used to be the big one. Over time, they are going to make it smaller, until someday they are going to disappear. So we are going to change now. Okay, fine connectors. That is very important. If you have to power up the heatsink, like I said before, you're going to need it. So I'm going to show you a little bit the fan connectors. So that is very important. And here we have the fan connector, as you can see here. Usually they are white, but it could be white like this, or it could be brown like this. If you are asking why they have two, well, one is for the microprocessor and the other is for the computer case. So if you want to use it differently, you can do that. So that is how they are designed mainly. Here, in this case, yep. In this case, it's white, and it comes just with one. That's it. I'm going to show you here in this computer. So, like I said before, here we have the connector. Is for this processor, like I said before. Here is the heatsink, and this is the connector. So this is very different connector. Like in this one, usually when you buy your processor, it comes with this kind of connector. In this one, when it's a brand-made computer, it might different the connector. So that is one thing that I don't like about these kind of things, because they are not very standard, at least with this kind of connectors. I mean, if you want to replace something, it will be harder to find. And moving on the latest, okay, I showed you before. I'm going to do, before finish the video, we're going to talk about SATA and ID and memory. So very easy. I'm going to show you both in one shot. So like I said before, we have here the memory RAM. Here is the memory RAM, and here is the memory RAM. So this is what I said before. And the SATA connector, here is the ID connector, usually the 40 pin for a very old motherboard. Surely you're not going to see them that often, hopefully. And in this case, this is the new one. You have both. You have the ID connector and you have the SATA connector. So everything in one motherboard. Usually that was good when you have to upgrade a computer and you have a little of everything at that time. But I don't recommend to use ID anymore. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit long, but I wanted to show you everything that you need to know in order to build computers, upgrade them, and everything else. So the thing is, if you need all the information that I was talking about, I can add it in the description of this video. Just leave me a comment in the section below, and then I'll try to do that. Like I said before, if you have any question, try to ask it on the description of this video. Click on like, subscribe to my channel. Also, you can go to the forum, and also you can see maybe another classes that I have in my website, GabakUSA.com. So see you next time. Thanks.